a huge walleye! Yeah! Oh, it's a giant, dude. Oh my. Oh! Oh! Oh my goodness!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Chill Outdoors. This is episode 3 of our fishing tour 2020. We were gonna try a lot of new lakes, but on this particular day, it got super warm. It was beautiful weather, and we came out to our local lake, Geist Reservoir in Indiana, and we decided to try to put in work. On this day, I took my buddy Tanner Martin from Tanner Martin Outdoors. We only had 2 hours to fish, and we put it on him. This lake is just your average reservoir. There is not a lot of natural shoreline. There is a ton of docks. There's a couple of islands, several shallow flats, a couple of good points. But the fishing in reservoirs, if you've ever fished a reservoir, you know it can be pretty difficult. It's not like your average big lake. It's not like what you're gonna find in Florida or California. If you're in a Midwest reservoir, you know it can be difficult. There is a ton of muddy bottoms. There is a ton of muddy shoreline. Because you gotta think, this is a reservoir, this is not natural. At one point, this was just a dirt valley and they filled this in with water. So keep that in mind as you're trying to learn how to fish, as you're fishing through the summer. Reservoirs are quite different than a lot of lakes, and especially different than lakes that have like a natural current, streams, things like that, or like an inlet and an outlet river type thing. Water clarity was pretty good, it was pretty stained. We only had about a foot of clarity in most places. The water was starting to warm up. We're actually on Geist right now and it's only 56-degree water. That's about what it was last week. Our first thought was, let's get up into a little bit of shallower water. Let's see if we could find anything moving up. Even if it was buck bass, we just wanted to try to see if anything was coming up into the shallows. It was extremely windy out on the main lake. So we started out in some coves. We weren't getting it turned on. In fact, we started in the cove Joey and I are in right now. Joey's in the front of the boat, so if you hear some casting and backlashing, it's just him. So we started out in this cove, we weren't getting any bites in here, so we shot out to one of the main islands. We decided to fish on the windswept side. These islands are sandy dirt. There's a lot of like geese that get up in there and swans and stuff, and the water just gets super murky up in there. So that's actually what we wanted. We wanted to get up into some shallow, windswept water that might be a little bit murkier, that maybe some fish are pulling up into to feed. We were also in pre-front conditions because we were about to get hammered with rain, a big rainstorm the next day. So we had a good idea that maybe the fish were feeding, and on the south end of that island, that's where Tanner hooked into a really good fish. At this moment, we were throwing a black and, I think he was throwing a black and green chatterbait, and I was throwing a lipless. Oh, you got one?
Oh gosh! Oh dude! What a freaking hoss, dude! Nice!
What's that, 4 pounds?
Oh! Dude!
3?
Goodness gracious, look at this!
I don't even have my camera on.
Oh, dude! Alright, let's get the scale. 3, 6. Oh.
360,
Yeah, 360. It's like bouncing. 360?
So we were about an hour into our 2-hour trip, so we were about half done with the day. He pulls in a 3.6 pound fish. Really good female, definitely full of eggs, and she was up in the shallows pretty well. So we fished around the rest of that island. We weren't getting anything turned on that island, but we were also out of the wind at this point. So we decided to go up into a cove. He finds this to be a pretty reliable cove. So I was like, you know what, let's get up in there. Let's see if we can find any shallow fish. We wanted to go to the right once we got inside. There was another boat there. So we kind of had to skip around to the left. We ended up getting around to a point, And I gotta give it to Tanner Martin. Tanner Martin Outdoors, if you've never seen his channel, go check it out after this video. The kid goes, there's usually a bed and bass right here. And what do you know? Throw a swim bait up in there. I think it was a 1/2 ounce swim bait head and a Kitech green and blue. And just watch the footage.
This is the jig head I bought at Cabela's. It was a really nice jig head, but the eyes fell out, and the eyes were part of the weight. So now it was like probably a 3/4 ounce, maybe, I don't know. It was a pretty heavy jig.
Sounds like a quarter.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I'll just keep throwing it. Oh, dude. Oh, I got one. Yep. I can't tell. It feels good. Oh, stay down, son. I can't tell. Oh, I'm around the front of the boat, apparently. Oh gosh. Oh, it's a giant, dude.
Oh my.
Oh. 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 Oh my goodness. Oh, sweet. I'm recording.
That is a tank.
Oh, on the Kitech, baby. Dude, I was just telling you how much I like the weight of this. Oh, yeah. Let me get this out of the boat. Oh, dude, it's like right at 3.5.
3.5 even.
3.50. Nice, dude. That's a nice fish.
Yeah, we'd have 7 pounds.
Nice. Oh, yeah, baby. Basically, right where the boat is now, I think is where I hooked into her. Tail's all churned up. Oh, back in the water. Bye-bye. Right back to where it was from, dude. How do they know? How do they know how to get right back where they're from?
So did we have ourselves a pattern yet? I would not say that we had a pattern. We only caught 2 fish in about an hour and a half of fishing. I do believe the fish were feeding that day, but I don't think they had pushed as shallow as what we were trying to force. There was multiple other boats on the water. We weren't seeing anybody catch anything else. There was a ton of people throwing lipless. However, we didn't catch anything on a lipless that day. I think that was my big flaw of that day, was trying to force using certain lures that were not catching the fish. So always stay open-minded. What was catching those fish though was erratic movement, the chatterbait and a swim bait. I mean, that both puts off a lot of vibration, and they both caught good 3.5 pound fish. So like I said, we only had 2 hours to fish. We got off the water that night, and the next day we absolutely got destroyed by a huge storm. I think that's why those big fish were up feeding. We do think the fish that I caught though was a buck bass. For being so big, it didn't have any eggs in it. It's very possible that it was still a female. We got some people coming up behind us. That must mean we know what we're doing. They're following us. Maybe they're fanboys. Maybe we got Shield Outdoor fanboys trying to follow us around. Like Jacob Wheeler. They just follow us as if this is a tournament. You think that's the case?
No.
Oh. Think it's safe to pee here?
Probably not.
Nobody really talks about that. Where do people pee on boats? Does everybody just pee outside?
Most people aren't fishing completely developed reservoirs.
That's true.
Literally every inch of this lake is developed.
I wonder how many people pee in this reservoir every year.
It's raining.
Is that weird to think about? This was episode 3. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. If you've ever fished this lake, drop a comment below. If you got any suggestions, let us know where we need to go next. Thanks for being here. Peace.